everyone, and welcome to You Say What? And I Say Create. And this is our first episode. Today we are going to go over all the techniques and stitches that you will need in order to successfully be able to complete part one of the Longmire blanket. And so today I have chose this Big Twist Value yarn in the colorway coral to do our demonstration, and hopefully you can see it very clearly with each stitch that I make, being that it is a very bright color on this white background. So first things first, when you go to work with a skein of yarn, you have two ends. One end has it where the yarn pulls from the center. The other end has it where the yarn comes from around the outside of the body. Now, just so this doesn't get tangled up, let me wrap this back around here and just kind of tuck it in. We are going to use the side where it pulls from the center. It tends to flow a little bit smoother, and not only that, it tends to have less ability to tangle. Not saying that it won't, but it doesn't seem to as much. All right, so that was our first little lesson. The second thing that I'm going to show you is how to create a slip knot. And there are many ways. I have seen many ways to create this slip knot. So a couple of the ways that I'm going to show you. The way that I normally do it when I'm not doing a tutorial is I will simply just wrap it around my finger, twist it, and just kind of pull that piece right there, that end tail, through that circle that I created when I twisted it. And when I do that, voila, I have a slip knot. Let me show you that one more time. I wrap it around my finger, I twist it and turn it. So I'm twisting and I'm turning so that I can then push this little tail through there, grab it, and pull it out. And there's my slip knot. Another way is you can take it and you can wrap it around your fingers. You can wrap it again, grab your hook, loosen that first one just a little bit, slide your hook up underneath that first loop, grab the second loop and pull it through, and hold your two ends right here. You can see where it's created kind of a lasso, and just pull until you have it and tighten it down. And there you also have a slip knot. I've also seen where people have wrapped it around their fingers, wrapped it again, and then they'll just simply pull it through like that. So you have to do what is comfortable for you in creating a slip knot. So go ahead and create your slip knot, and we'll get started with our next lesson. So the next thing I'm going to show you is how to create a chain. And in case I haven't already shared with you, this tutorial may be long at times because every stitch and technique that we go over will be done with such a thoroughness that everyone can grasp the concept and the skill in order to obtain that technique or that stitch. So this is not meant to be something that is necessarily just flown through. It is designed to help master the techniques and the stitches. All right, so to create a chain, you have your slip knot on the hook. Now you do want it tight enough that it's not going to just, come off easily, but you want it loose enough that your hook can slide through. So to create the chain, and whenever you're creating a chain, a foundation chain, the loop on the hook does not count as a chain. It is simply just what it is, a loop on your hook. It is your starting slip knot, okay? It is not a loop in a foundation chain. It is your official slip knot. So now we're going to chain. In order to chain, you have to be able to get this working yarn through the center of your slip knot. So you have to get this working chain to go through that center. And this is how we do it. For me, it's easy to kind of come and split this yarn, split your slip knot tail, your foundation tail, and your working yarn. So this is your foundation tail, and this is your working yarn. This is what is attached to the skein still. And you're going to split it, and you want to be able to hold it so that it's firm. It's not going anywhere. And then I tend to take my pointer and my middle finger and stretch them up the working yarn as far as I can so that I've got enough tension that I can wrap my hook around it to pull it through. Now let's see if I can change the angle on this. I'm not very good holding the hook this way, but I'll do the best I can so you can hopefully see it at a better angle. So you're going to wrap that yarn around the hook, and you're going to ever so gently turn it so that you can then pull it through that loop. Let's do it again. Grab the yarn and turn it slightly to pull it through that loop. All right, let me try it with the way I normally hold it. So I'm holding it the way I normally do, and I'm going to go over here and grab the yarn, twist it slightly, and pull it through. Let me see if I can even come a little closer. I'm going to grab the yarn, turn it slightly, and pull it through. I'm going to grab the yarn, turn it slightly, and pull it through. And if you have to, hold it right here, okay? But use these fingers because you need something, or use these fingers actually, I guess, because you need something that can give a little bit of tension on the working yarn, okay? And you don't even have to go that far out. You can just go far enough that you've got tension created. But wrap the yarn around, twist it slightly, and pull it through. Now, if you can pull it, I can't do it without twisting it downward. I have to twist mine downward. But just keep practicing. Now, a big thing about making a foundation chain, if you noticed, even doing it in holding the hook in a way that I wasn't normally comfortable with, my tension, which means the fluidity of my chains, my loops. See how they're all still uniformed and about the same size? You do want to make sure that you are keeping your tension the same. Now, with that, you also want to keep it a certain way. You don't want to create these big, floppy, let me get some more yarn here, out the center. You don't want to create these big, long, floppy chains, because if you do, look what happens. They just are what they are. They're very big and bulky. And they don't look as nice and uniform as the other end does. Let me show it to you a little bit closer. And then let's go to the other extreme. You don't want them so tight that you can't actually get your hook in there when you're working your stitches. I don't know if you can see. Let me see if I can focus in on this for just a minute. Let's see. Is it going to focus for you? You just don't want them to be so small and tight that it would be very hard to get your hook into those stitches. So you do want to practice working on it to keep it at the same tension. So let's go ahead and practice our slip knot one more time and creating a chain. All right, for this tutorial we are going to create a chain of 20. So and you do it however you feel comfortable. But I'm going to split my 2 yarns so I can grab onto them for the tension, and I'm going to take it and pull it through. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And always remember, you go and you grab the yarn, turn it and pull it through. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Now, if you count all these chains, you actually have 21. But if you remember, the first chain you started with was not a chain, it was your slip knot. All right, now that slip knot, so to speak, is what is on your hook. So you do not count that. So if you were to count away from the hook, then you will have a total of 20 chains. Now, when it comes to your foundation chain, the thing that you want to be aware of, especially until you become a little bit more experienced, is see how my chain is laying nice and flat right now. It's very even, it's flat. If I could work through the loops this way with it laying down, I could guarantee that my chain is straight. But I can't do that. I've got to pick it up to hold it. So if I'm working, okay, I have to be careful that as I'm doing my stitches, that somehow I'm not like turning my chain and then picking up this right here, because that actually technically is the bottom loop of the chain. If I do that, I'm going to end up creating this little corkscrew foundation chain, and I want it to remain straight. So now let's talk about the body of our chain. Okay, if you'll look, all right, and let's just kind of, let me see if I can lower the camera a little bit so I can zoom in a little bit closer here for you. We're coming in here. There we go. All right. Oh yeah. So if you'll look, when you're looking at your chain, we're going to dissect it a minute. And hopefully you can see it with this bright color. Let me see if I can help focus in on this just a little bit more, if that will help. All right, so you actually have 3 parts to one chain. And hopefully you can see this. You've got this very bottom loop, and of course that yarn on that particular one wants to split, so let's scoot down a little bit so you can see it without that. So this very bottom loop right here is just that. It's your bottom loop, okay? And you've got space right here. Then you've got this loop that's kind of going through the middle. And then you have one on the top here. So you basically have 3 strands that create a loop. So when you're working your first stitch into this foundation chain, you have your top loop right here. You have this middle one running right here, and then you have this bottom one. Now, when you're making your stitches, you normally go underneath the top 2 stitches, and they create kind of like this V, or the bottom half of a heart, if you will. Oops, sorry. I realized I was off camera. I forgot that I had lowered my camera to get close. Let me raise it back up a little bit so make sure I don't get off camera again. So it creates this V, or like I said, the bottom of a half of a heart. But when you're working in your foundation chain, especially if you know that you're going to end up creating a border around your project, you want to work in just the top loop, just for the foundation chain, so that it allows the bottom 2 chains. Let me see if I can get this now. I might have to pull my yarn out. All right, so I just worked in between the top and the middle right there, and it leaves me these 2 bottom chains. The reason that is so when you flip your work and you're trying to put on a border, you've got this space to work in to help keep your project nice and uniform. All right. And so that is creating a slip knot and a foundation chain. So the first stitch I'm going to introduce to you that will be used as one of the 3 stitches in the first tutorial for the Longmire blanket is a single crochet. And to do a single crochet, you are just going to insert your hook into the stitch. So just push it through. And you're going to yarn over that hook so that the yarn is coming right here under the teeth or the lip of the hook. And you're just going to simply slide and pull that through that opening that you inserted your hook in. And then you're going to wrap the yarn around your hook again, and then you're going to pull it through both loops, and that is a single crochet. So if you want, I've heard people say that the hook is like a rabbit. Take the rabbit down the rabbit hole, grab the carrot, and bring it back up to the top. Here comes the farmer, so you better start running through the fence to get away. All right. So again, in crochet terminology, you're going to insert your hook into the stitch. You're going to yarn over. You're going to pull that yarn through that stitch, through that hole. You're going to yarn over again and pull through both loops. Let's do it again. I'll see if I can come closer. You're going to insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull that yarn through that stitch, yarn over, and pull through both loops. Do it again. Insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull through the stitch, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, and pull through both loops. Let's do another one. I'm going to insert our hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull the yarn through the stitch, and then yarn over and pull the yarn through both loops on the hook. And do it again. And do a couple more to practice. And the thing about your foundation chain is you don't really have anything to hold on to. So as you're working, it kind of feels like it's floppy and it's all over the place and whatnot, and it might be, but you just have to get through it. So just take your time. There's no rush, there's no hurry. And I'm going to fix my camera, so I'm making sure that I'm not getting off camera for you. So as with anything, it takes practice to figure it out. So a couple more. Insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, and pull through two. So let me just kind of finish off this row a little bit so that it gives us a little bit of a body. And then I'm going to show you the stitches one more time so your yarn is not like all over the place, that you're able to tame the beast a little bit. All right. So let's turn this, and now that we've got something that we're able to hold on to, let me try and show you the stitches. And here you can actually see those V's that I was talking about a little bit easier. Let me see if I can get it to focus in here. There you go. See how those V's are formed? So you can easily see those. So now that we've not on a foundation row anymore, this is where when you come to make your stitch and you go in, you're going to go in under both those strands. Remember, on the foundation chain we just went through the top one, but now here we're going to go through both those and all the way through the rest of your project. All right, so I kind of did that single crochet. Let's do another single crochet. You're going to insert your hook underneath both those two strands, and you're going to yarn over, pull that yarn through. You now have 2 loops on the hook, and you're going to yarn over and pull through both loops. And let's do that again. Going under both strands there, under the V or the heart, and you're going to yarn over. And as I got more experience, I didn't have to actually yarn over like this and pull it through. I'll show you what I do. I now insert the hook, and I go ahead and twist my hook and then grab that yarn and just pull it through. Yarn over and pull through both. So when I was beginning to learn, I would insert my hook, I would automatically yarn over and then turn my hook and pull through. But now that I've got a little bit more experience and I'm more comfortable with it, when I insert my hook into the stitch, I automatically naturally go ahead and turn my hook and I pick up that yarn. See how I'm picking that yarn up? And pull it through. Let me show you that one more time. So I insert my hook into the stitch. The lip is facing up. I go ahead and turn my hook so it's down. I grab that yarn just like that, and I go ahead and pull it through the stitch. And then I yarn over and pull through both. Let's do it again. Insert my hook into the stitch, turn my hook over, grab that yarn, and pull it through. Yarn over, grab the yarn by twisting the hook a little bit, and pull it through the 2 stitches, or 2 loops. Insert my hook, twist it, pull up that yarn through the hole, through the stitch, yarn over and pull through both loops. And that is how a single crochet is worked. Now let's go ahead and finish this row out so I can talk to you about chaining. Now the reason we do a chain at the beginning of each row is because we want to give height to our rows, because we need it to be a little bit taller so that we can create the next stitch. And I'll show you what I mean. All right, so we're now at the end of this row, and I need to turn my work so I can start working a new row. But in order to get the height so that my project is moving up, because if I just go in here, I mean, my project's not really going anywhere. See how, let me pull this out. See how technically it really didn't raise this stitch up hardly at all. But if I pull it back out and I chain one, see how right there alone it's already given height to my new row? So now when I create that stitch, I'm just going to work a couple so you can see what I'm talking about. Do one more. So see the difference in the height here as compared to before? You can significantly see, there we go, see that height a lot better. So depending on the stitch that you're doing will determine how many chains you have to make at the beginning of the row. So how do you make a chain? So to make a chain, you just yarn over on your hook, and you grab that yarn with the teeth or the lip of the hook, and you simply pull it through. That's a chain, just like you did when you were just making a foundation chain. Okay? That's the same thing you do at the beginning of a row. And here I am at the end of this row. I'm going to turn, and I want to create 2 chains now for the next stitch, so it'll be the right height. So I'm going to yarn over, pull through that loop, and I'm going to yarn over again and pull through that loop, and that now gives me a chain height of 2 rows, or excuse me, of 2 stitches here, loops. So now I'm going to show you how to make a double crochet. And to make a double crochet, before with a single we just inserted our hook into the stitch. But with a double crochet, you're going to yarn over first, insert your hook into the stitch up under both loops there. See? You're going to yarn over and pull a loop through. Now you have 3 loops on the hook. When you yarned over before inserting in the hook, into the stitch, that's where the second loop was created. And then when you pulled a loop through the stitch, that's where the third loop was created. Now to complete the double crochet, we're going to yarn over, and we're going to pull that yarn through the first 2 stitches. That leaves 2 stitches on the hook. We're going to yarn over again and pull through those 2 stitches, thus completing what is called a double crochet. So let's give that a try again. We're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull a loop through that hole of that stitch, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through the first 2, yarn over and pull through the last 2. Let's do that again. We're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the stitch, yarn over and pull a loop up. We now have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2, and yarn over and pull through the last 2. And that is creating your double crochet stitches. All right, let's do a couple more. We're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the stitch, yarn over and pull that loop through. We have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through the first 2, yarn over and pull through the last 2. Let's do it again. Yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over and pull through, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over and pull through the second 2. And let's do it again. And of course, a double crochet is a lot bigger stitch than the single crochet. And so the bigger the stitch, the higher your row will increase in height. So let's go ahead and work a couple more double crochets across the row here. Again, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull that loop through, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. And so we're just going to continue going across the rest of this row here, working those double crochets. And again, you yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over and pull a loop up through that stitch, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. And we have just a couple more here to do before turning our work and starting a new row where I will introduce a new stitch to you. And going into this very last one to create our last double crochet. And there you go. So now the third stitch that you'll be doing in this first tutorial is called a treble crochet. And for that, you're going to actually turn your work and you're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the reason you're chaining 4 is because one of the chains is going to count as your turning chain to increase the height of your row, and the other 3 chains are going to represent your first treble crochet stitch. So to do a treble crochet stitch, you're going to yarn over just like you do with the double crochet, but it's a triple. So if we yarn over once for a double, then for a triple crochet, we're going to yarn over twice. Once we have yarned over twice, we're then going to insert our hook into the next stitch. We're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, and at this point we have 4 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. That leaves a total of 3 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over again and pull through the next 2 loops. That leaves 2 loops on the hook. And then we're going to yarn over and pull through those last 2 loops till we have our 1 loop on our hook again. And that creates another triple crochet. Let's try it again. Yarn over twice, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. You have 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the next 2, yarn over and pull through the last 2. Let's do it again. Wrap the yarn around your hook twice, insert into the next stitch, yarn over and grab up a loop, yarn over and pull through the first two, yarn over, pull through the next two, yarn over and pull through the last two. All right, let's do it again. Going to yarn over twice on our hook, insert the hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, 4 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through the first two, yarn over, pull through the next two, yarn over, and pull through the last two. And again, you have created a triple or treble crochet stitch. So let's just continue to work across the row, practicing these triple crochets. And again, you yarn over on your hook twice, insert into the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over and pull through the next 2 loops, yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. Oops. And that is how you do a triple crochet. So let me know if you have any questions on the techniques or the stitches that we went over today. Just a refresher and a reminder. Today we went over how to create a slip knot, how to do a foundation chain, how to chain at the beginning of each row, how to create a single crochet, how to create a double crochet, and how to create a triple crochet. So I hope this tutorial has been helpful and will help guide and assist you in the first part of the Longmire blanket. And I'm just finishing off this row with the triple crochets so you can see it completed. My yarn slipped off my hook. All right, and here we are at the end of the row. There we go. So I'm going to pull that out a little bit so I won't be pulling it out, and that way I can show you. So these are all the stitches that you learned. You learned how to do the single crochet, you learned how to do the double, and how to do the triple. And you can see that with the single it's a smaller stitch, so the height increase was not that big. Then you have the double crochet, and you can see how it significantly right here is bigger than this stitch. And then you can see how the triple or the treble crochet, whatever you feel more comfortable calling it, has really increased the height of that row. If you have any questions or need further instruction, please leave a comment in the comment section below, or privately message me through an email, and I will answer your question as quickly as I can. Well, this is Cynthia with Joyful Creations, and until next time, be joyful, stay crafty in your own way, and make your own joyful creations.